I'm going to show you how to make kefir today. Kefir is a wonderful gift that evolved in the Caucasus Mountains, where they were carrying milk in bags, and this organism, which is called a SCOBY, a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast, that converted the milk into a soured milk product. And that sour milk gives us lactic acid that helps to go through your body and help heal your cells on a very basic level. And it's also what's called a right-leaning lactic acid, which means that it's totally useful to your body for doing this. So I'm going to talk about how to make it and how to manage your kefir a little bit. What kind of milk should you use? I suggest, well, I use grass-fed raw milk, but not everybody can get that. The next best thing would be unhomogenized milk that in the Roanoke area comes in glass bottles. And then the next thing would be just pasteurized, homogenized milk. And the worst that you should never use is a kind of ultra-pasteurized milk, which is so dead that you can just set it on the counter or store it without refrigeration. The kefir does not like that kind, so try to avoid that. Now the supplies that you need are a bowl, a colander. I really suggest these retro Tupperware colanders because it just works well. I'll show you how that works. It comes in two sizes, and you can find these on the internet. You need a wide-mouthed funnel that will sit inside of your ball jar, and you can use some of these white lids that you get at the True Value. I have one labeled Kefir Brewing and the other one is labeled Kefir, so that I know right away the difference between the two. You'll need some milk, you'll need a rubber spatula, and that's it. It's not very high-tech. You don't need anything complicated for it. So the way that you know that your kefir is ready is you have a layer of whey. Now the whey is very good stuff, so don't throw it away. Your layer of whey can form on the bottom, in the middle, or on the top. It just depends on the batch that you have. Okay, so you can, did you hear that pop? It's fermenting in there, and I see bubbles. Now I want to mix that up a little bit before I strain it, just to loosen it up. And then I just pour the whole thing in. And strain it through. I just sort of push it through without damaging the kefir grains much. These are the kefir grains, and they are the ones that do the work of fermenting the milk by digesting the lactose, or the milk sugar, in the milk and converting it into this wonderful healing drink that can be used for a lot of things. So you get that to go through there, and then you can just put the grains back into the jar, and whoops, spilled a couple there. That goes back in the jar to make the next batch. You don't have to be super clean with kefir grains like you do with yogurt. It's a symbiotic colony of bacteria and yeast, and the yeast and the bacteria work together to fend off any outside pathogens that might try to get in. So I just put it back in the same jar. It's all colonized with the bacteria. And then I'm going to put some milk in there. And you see I didn't put too much in. You can tell when you're making good kefir, it turns out pretty creamy. And then you can slowly build up and start making a little more kefir. But make sure that you start making really good kefir before you start trying to overload it with too much milk. If you make a move with your kefir, if you go traveling with it, or expose it to a period where it's cold, it may take you a little while to bring it up to speed again. You may have to make a few batches of kefir until it really starts making the creamy stuff again. Okay, so here is my kefir, and I'm just going to take that. I'm going to store it in the jar that I had my milk in. And so in it goes. Now that was the first fermentation, and what you can do is, if it's not too warm in your house, you can leave it out and let it ferment for a second fermentation. And during that time, certain vitamins and things will develop, like if you leave it for about 24 hours. What I usually do is take this and put it in, label it correctly. This one says kefir Brewing, so that one goes on there. And this one says kefir, so that one's going to go on there. And I'm just going to put this in the refrigerator, and then I can have it, I like to let it get cold. I'll have that in the morning. So I think we're good here. I feed my grains, I strain them and feed them once a day, and that keeps them pretty happy. If you take care of your kefir, it's going to take care of you. I would start drinking it with maybe a little shot glass. Get used to it, give it a chance to start detoxing your body. That lactic acid will go in and help your cells to detox. And it's good when it's really nice and sour. So that's it. That's basically, you don't really want to use metal with it except for stainless steel. Try to get some equipment that you're comfortable with, like the colanders, and you're good to go. If you need to leave it for a while you go on a trip, just take your grains like this and just set them in the refrigerator. You can do that for a couple of weeks, and when you come back, you probably will have a good batch of kefir from when you first take it out of the fridge, but then you may have to add milk to it a few times before it really starts making the kind of quality kefir that you want. I like it really sour and creamy, and I think in that form where the milk sugar has been digested by the yeast, I think it's more healthy for you, because milk does have a lot of sugar in it. So we get the little yeasties to do the work of consuming the lactose and converting it into something that's really very, very useful and healing to our body. Thank you, and I hope that that answers some of your questions about how to make kefir. And give it a try, and you'll get a feel for it.